Hi, my name is Lisa Blackstone, and I'm president of the American Horse Association and owner of the horseandriderclub.com. You know, as an attorney, I'm often asked the best way to proceed when somebody wants to buy a horse. What are the best practices to engage in to protect yourself? Well, unfortunately, too many people act before they think, and they wind up with buyer's remorse because they wind up with a horse that they didn't really bargain for. If you have found yourself in that position, then I want you to go to the blog that is listed right here and read my article about different ways that contracts could be invalidated if you feel as though you are engaged in a contract with someone who has maybe tried to pull the wool over your eyes. I'm not encouraging you to get out of a legitimate contract, but if you have been taken advantage of, that's another situation and you need to investigate that. So go check out that article. It might really help you. But before you find yourself in that unfortunate situation, I want you just to listen to a few helpful hints that I have to offer that might keep you from ever being in that position ever in the future. One is a general rule you need to know that when you buy a horse, you are buying that horse as is. Now, what does that mean? That means that the duty is on you as the buyer to investigate and find out all of the problems that this horse might have. It is not incumbent upon the seller to disclose to you everything that's wrong with his horse. Now, I know that makes it a little more difficult, especially if you are a beginner. If you are a beginner, it is vital that you take a professional with you, someone who will have an arm's length interest in the contract so that you can trust their judgment, and to get the opinion of a veterinarian. You've got to have a vet check when you purchase a horse. So make sure you have at least that going for you before you enter into a contract. Make sure you're buying the kind of horse that you want and that he's physically able to do what you want him to do. Secondly, be sure that this contract is in writing. No verbal agreements here. Be sure it is a written agreement. Once you have a written agreement, make sure that you include certain very vital pieces of information. For example, you don't want just the name of the horse and that maybe it's a bay mare. That's not descriptive enough. You need to clearly identify exactly who this horse is, what he looks like. Hopefully, if he's registered and has a registration number with a breed association, that's going to help a lot. But I've seen some tricks played there too, so make sure that you have not only the registration number, but also descriptive markings that are very well identified on the contract itself. One of the most important things that you can do is make sure that if there are agents involved, that there is an agency disclosure made somewhere in that contract. Believe it or not, in the horse business, dual agency is a rather common practice. I know you don't see it much in real estate and in other parts of the business world, but it's quite common in the horse world. You might have one agent who is representing the buyer and representing the seller. Now, obviously, the more that is disclosed and is in the sunlight on the table, the better off everybody is, and the less likely there will be a problem on down the road if there becomes some kind of issue about that. Well, the last thing I want you to do is make sure you know what state will govern this contract if a dispute does arise in the future. Maybe you live in Georgia, maybe the horse is in California, maybe you signed the agreement in Texas. Whatever it is, just make sure that the state that controls the contract is stated so that if you have a problem, you know where you're going to have to go to litigate. Well, I hope those little helpful hints do in fact keep you from getting in trouble. There's a lot more to it than what I've mentioned here, but that should be enough to get you going. If you have any questions about purchase contracts with horses, feel free to get in touch with me. I have sample contracts and other articles and so forth that can help you along the way to keep you from making any big financial blunders. Thanks for listening, and come back and visit our blog.